Hello and welcome to Author Hour. I'm your host, Richard Lyntton, author of North Korea Deception and Hyde Park Deception. Today, I would like to welcome local author Linda Barrasse, who collaborated with friends to create 7 on the 7th 100 dinners honoring Cody. Linda has been a cardiologist for more than 3 decades and has worked at Mainline Health since 2000. Linda is a first-time author who wrote this wonderful cookbook to honor her son who passed away in 2013. Linda also wrote the book to record all the things that happened in the first 100 months after his death. Welcome, Linda Barrasse. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me, Richard.
So I want to just start with a conversation that moved me when I was reading about your story. And it's the conversation where Cody said to you, and it's such an emotional story. I think we're gonna have to support each other because I was tearing up when I was reading about him. But anyway, he said to you, "Give everything inside me away." Can you tell us about that conversation and then what happened after that?
Yeah, sure. It was Cody's birthday is February 9th. And on February 9th, we were running some errands together on our way home, and he said, "Ma, I need to talk to you about something." And I was driving. I said, "Well, sweetheart, I'm driving." He said, "No, Ma, I really need to talk to you about something now." I said, "Well, what's that?" He said, "Now, Mom," and Cody was a great athlete. He was in fabulous shape. He said, "Mom, if something ever happens that I can't be just like I am now, just like I am, something bad happens and somebody wants to keep me alive, don't let them do it. Don't let anybody keep me alive. Just let me go and give everything I have inside me away. Don't let anybody keep me on a machine." I said, "Oh, Code." I said, "You're going to be making those decisions for me, honey. I'm not going to be making them for you." And my father-in-law had died maybe 2 years before this, and he had heard me talk a lot about end of life and quality of life, and I thought maybe that's where it came from, that maybe he was thinking of his grandpa. And he said, "Mom, you have to promise me." I said, "Code, I promise. I promise." And we continued on our day. Didn't think very much of it, but I did think it was a little bit odd that a 22-year-old on his birthday would be talking about that. Now, Cody also knew of my great commitment to organ donation and transplantation. He knew a couple of my patients who had heart transplants, and I thought maybe that's where it was coming from. Little did I know that was Cody and God preparing me to help me make the decisions I ultimately had to make just a few weeks later.
Just a few weeks?
Yeah, he died April 7th.
So what happened?
So what happened to Cody? Cody was a month away from graduating from Penn State as a finance major, and he was out at the University of Pittsburgh visiting a few friends with a couple of his buddies from Penn State, and he got hit by a car as a pedestrian. And he suffered a brain injury that he just could never survive. So
just walking along, was he on his own?
He was with a bunch of guys. And
was it a drunk driver?
No, it was...
Freak accident?
Freak accident.
Ugh.
Freak accident. And accidents happen.
Right.
And this was no one's fault. And I think of and pray every day for the young man who hit him. He has to live with this, and I want him to know from me as Cody's mother that things happen, and this was Cody's time.
Right.
Whether we like to hear it or not, it was Cody's time.
Right.
Cody had completed his task. The interesting thing about what Cody said to me is months went by, many months, and I found out he had the exact same conversation with my other son, Joseph.
Okay.
That he told Joseph the same thing, that if anything ever bad ever happened to him, don't let anybody keep him alive, and to give everything away.
Right. So he's pretty clear about that.
Very clear.
Right.
And it was, as I've said before, not morbid.
Right.
This was matter of fact.
Right.
Ma, this is what you have to do.
Yeah.
And just do it.
Right. You're a cardiologist.
I am.
So I always wonder, you know how doctors have like a sort of reputation of being a little bit cold and abrupt because they're doctors and they have to be, and they're medical people. Do you know what I mean? It's like they can't get too involved with the patient. Is what you might disagree. Well, I just wondered, like, were you more prepared than the average doctor, say, who doesn't? Like, what was that like? Did your medical background help you to deal with this incredible tragedy?
There's almost nothing that could prepare you for your worst nightmare. I mean, I've seen my darkest day, Richard. What I did know was that the people caring for him were doing their absolute best. For that neurosurgical fellow to make that phone call to me was a fate worse than death for him. It's a nightmare. I knew my son was getting the best care he could get. And I'm not sure it has anything to do with me being a doctor, but I do believe in the quality of life. And some of it comes from a faith-based piece that I believed it was Cody's time.
Really?
So from a medical standpoint, did I feel more comfortable walking into that room with the machines and the tubes? It's really very different when your son is laying in that bed. And I had another son to care for at the same time.
Who was driving at high speed toward the hospital, I remember him saying.
From Virginia. And Cody's dad and all of his friends and family, within a short period of time, 40 or 50 kids showed up to be there. And many of our own friends and family from Scranton. Scranton to Pittsburgh is not an easy trek. So that's a tough question to answer. Did my medical training make a difference? I am who I am based on all of my past history. So the correct answer is probably yes, but that's still my son. That day I was his mom.
And how long was it before? Was it like instant you knew he was going to die?
Well, we knew he had a brain injury he could not survive. So at the time we first met him, he still had some brain activity left. It wasn't higher order thinking, it was all lower brain activity. And we had a long talk with the doctors. And when it comes to organ donation, if you are called brain dead, you can give all of your solid organs, which include your heart and your lungs. If you cease care, if you take a tube out and they still have some brain activity, but not enough to sustain life, then those organs, the heart and the lungs, cannot be donated until one is pronounced brain dead. So we had an opportunity at that time to say, stop all activity now. And Michael, Joseph, and I had a discussion, and we felt that we would give it 24 hours and see what would happen with his brain activity. And it became clear in the middle of the night that things were changing. His pupils changed, his breathing changed, his primitive reflexes changed. And I was pretty confident that when the doctors were going to check him, which was around 4 o'clock in the morning, that he would have been brain dead, and he was. And so at that point in time, you are legally dead. Even though there are machines sustaining breathing and your circulation, you are legally and medically dead. So that's when he was pronounced, and that's when we said our goodbyes.
That was in the middle of the night?
About 4:30 in the morning. And then they do the next step of harvesting his organs and figuring out who the individuals are who are going to get them.
Wow.
So.
And did they do that? Did that happen?
Oh,
as
yeah.
He wanted?
Oh, yeah. He, his heart went to a 9-year-old boy. His 2 lungs went to a 63-year-old roofer. 1 kidney went to a 12-year-old boy on dialysis. The small piece, the liver has a large lobe and a little lobe. The little lobe went to an 18-month-old baby who was probably not going to survive much longer. The large piece went to a woman from Western Pennsylvania, and one kidney and his pancreas went to another person who had diabetes and end-stage renal disease.
Wow.
Then one cornea went to someone.
Wow.
The other cornea was hurt in the accident. And then multiple tissues, skin, valves, multiple tissues went throughout this country. So
I don't think, it's just overwhelming to hear the story. But you've taught me something right there, and I don't think most people realize that. Like you think of it just as a heart or a lung, right? But what you've just described, I don't think most people realize. There's all, you literally can have all sorts of bits that will help people live.
absolutely,
right?
and I'm very, 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 very involved in the transplant world, and I'm actually on the board for Gift of Life right now, which is our organ procurement organization here in southeastern Pennsylvania. You're never too old, you're never too young. It used to be all done through PennDOT.
Yep.
You could go to a website now and become an organ donor in 30 seconds.
Is that how you do it?
You can do it. It used to all be done when you got your driver's license,
right.
But you could go to Gift
add
of
on
Life
afterwards, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because
yes.
I remember checking that, or not checking that. I can't remember what I did, to be perfectly honest. But if people do want to do that, just listening as they listen to your story over the next few minutes, then just reiterate how they literally just go to PennDOT and just can sign up.
They can go to Donate Life. That's one website. They can go to Gift of Life, which is our organ, and there will be a link that gets them right to where they have to sign up for organ donation. Wow. Very simple.
And that would literally sort of be legally binding.
It is recorded. So when somebody's in the hospital dying, Gift of Life gets all of those names.
Yeah.
And it can be legally binding, yes.
Wow.
But my own suggestion is, if you want to be an organ donor, sign up, become an organ donor, but make sure all of your loved ones know your intentions.
Okay, thank you. Yeah,
Cody was smart.
Right.
Now that was divine intervention, Cody's discussion with me. But you should tell all of the people you love that this is what you want.
Yeah.
And there should be no fussing at the time of death. There should be no discussion at the time of death. We know what mom wants, dad wants, my brother wants. Right. And it becomes much easier then. Right. So
wonderful.
Yes, you can give up to 8 solid organs and multiple tissues. Right. And right now we are in touch with 3 of those. Right. We're in touch with the beautiful man who got his lungs. He's a roofer. He's still roofing. Jazzy is now 10 years old. She's just entered 5th grade. She was 18 months old. We've watched her grow up. She does all of the things Cody did when he was 10. She rides a bike. She has friends. She goes to school. And
now some of those people on the YouTube video on the Cody Barrasse Foundation website. Am I
they
right?
are
in the story. There's a wonderful story.
There is a story. Yes, they're discussed in the story, but I don't think on my
not
website.
All of them.
On my website, I'm not sure that you could see all of them.
Okay. But anyway, so let's just switch to the website real quickly. So if you do want to find out more about Linda Barrasse, it's www.CodyBarrasseFoundation.com. Cody Barrasse, BARRASSE, CodyBarrasseFoundation.com. Just so that everyone's clear about that. Now, but the book. I mean, let's switch gears a bit. Thank you for giving us that kind of detail. I think it's important for people to know what happened to understand your story. But so can you please tell us the name of your book? And here it is. And I would like you to just explain for our viewers what that actually means, because it's a little bit sort of it's a little bit complicated. I wasn't quite sure what it meant when I read it. So if you could just tell us the name again of the book, and then we'll talk about the book. But tell us the name and why you named it like that.
The name of the book is 7 on the 7th, ... 100 Dinners Honoring Cody.
Okay.
And what happened was, after Cody died, the house was continually filled with dozens and dozens of kids. They were in, they were out, these
Tell us
kids,
about the very first dinner, though.
Yes, I am. That's where this is going. Right. These kids, some of them never went to a funeral home, let alone buried somebody they loved.
Wow.
They didn't know what to do.
So you're talking about the first few days after his
Yes.
death. Right.
I felt very, very compelled to make them not be afraid to come to the home that they spent a ton of time in their whole life. So I decided that on the 7th of May, which was 1 month later, to have everybody over for dinner and cook one of Cody's most favorite meals, and that was vodka sauce.
So wait, he died on the April 7th?
April 7th is
And
when he
then
died.
1 month
so
later.
May 7th,
Love it.
which was right around the time
Love it.
there were graduations or impending graduations. Most of them were still home. And I thought, we need to get together. Nothing made Cody happier than to be hanging around eating with his friends.
Right.
And I cooked.
Right.
So that first dinner, about 50 of them came.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, we made a lot of vodka sauce. And
Oh my goodness.
it was, we cried a little bit, we laughed a little bit, we honored Cody.
Right.
And at that dinner, some of the guys said, Mrs. B, we can't even wrap our head around the thought of this universe not knowing who Cody was, not remembering him. We want to do something, and we want to do it this summer. And I said, well, guys, what do you want to do? And they said, we want to have a 3-on-3 basketball tournament. And Cody loved playing 3-on-3. So I said, if you guys are up to it, so are we. And Joseph was there, and Michael was there. So I said, when do you want to do this? They said, August. I said, that's only 8 weeks away, 10 weeks away. And they said, we'll get it done. So our first 3-on-3 tournament was in August. And then we decided that first dinner that we would have another dinner in June. And then we did another dinner in August. And then we just kept having dinners every month on the 7th of the month, no matter what day of the week. Except in February, we did it on his birthday, February 9th. And
And how many people came to each dinner?
It depended, but mainly about 20.
Right.
Sometimes 50.
Wow.
Depended on the month, and it depended on, now a lot of the kids are going to graduate school, getting jobs out of town, so it depended on who was home and
This
what.
is Scranton area?
Yeah,
Where you are?
Music is where my home is. It's right outside Scranton. Yes.
Right.
So it would vary anywhere between 6 and 50, depending on the month.
Wow. And your friends as well, not just Cody's
Well, what
friends.
happened was that first month, some of my girlfriends just showed up.
Right.
They said, she's not going to do this by herself. They just showed up. They served, they cleaned. They were just there.
I was going to say, there's a lot of people to cook for.
Yeah, the cleaning up is worse.
Right.
So since that time, these same women, with some of their spouses, continue to come. So there's a senior group and there's the kid group. I still call them kids. They're now turning 32 years old.
I love it.
And they still come.
Right.
So when we celebrated Cody's anniversary 2 years ago, usually at the beginning of every dinner, I will say, well, this is the 72nd dinner. This is the 82nd dinner.
Right.
And when in April, I realized, wait a minute. In a year, we're going to have the 100th dinner.
Right.
We got to do something. So I got this thought about, a long time ago, a girlfriend of mine said, you should put all these recipes together.
Oh, I see.
People should know about these recipes.
Okay. So this was, you mean before Cody passed?
Right after Cody died and after the first few dinners, one of my girlfriends said, you should put these dinners together in a book.
Right.
And I just, said, no way, I'll do that. Then I thought, maybe I will write a book about these dinners and what our foundation, how it became and what it has done.
Right.
So when you open the book, it looks like a cookbook for all intents and purposes.
And I just want to say, this is a serious thing, right? This is big. It's got tons of recipes. It's every conceivable course, starters, main course, desserts. I mean, it's a real life cookbook. So I don't want you to think it's just like sort of like a memoir, but explain to us how you very cleverly wrote the things you have done about Cody as you went along.
So they get 7 courses every month.
Oh, wow.
And so I divided the book into a cookbook that you would see appetizers, soups, salads, pasta,
Right.
meat, sides, and desserts. And I decided that at the beginning of each chapter, I would tell the story of who Cody was and how this foundation developed over the 100 months and what these young people did to honor my son.
Right.
They're an incredible bunch of, I refer to them in the book and I refer to them here as the kids. What they have done, they didn't know an appendectomy from a transplant 9 years ago.
Right.
Now, all of them can speak very fluently on what organ donation is all about and its importance and what the miracle of it represents. They didn't know a non-for-profit.
Right.
They didn't know what a 501(c) was. They know it now.
Right.
They know how to raise money. They know how to organize a tournament. And then from our tournament, we decided that wasn't quite enough. It ended midday, that it was kind of anticlimactic.
Right.
And what has evolved from that is we wanted a piece recognizing the importance of organ donation.
So that's where the foundation comes in?
That's where the foundation comes
So
in.
just to be clear, so you've got the foundation, which has two parts to it, right? The organ donor and then the scholarship.
Correct.
So you can just tell us about that, and then just explain how the cookbook and how long the cookbook took to create.
Okay, so the foundation starts simply as this. It just started as a basketball tournament,
Right.
and then we decided we wanted to make it a for real foundation.
Right.
And there are two main arms. One arm is to raise money to give to a student to go to Scranton Prep, which is, for those in southeastern Pennsylvania, the same type of
Is that
place.
a high school?
It's a high school. It's a
Right.
Jesuit high school, just the same as St. Joe's Prep.
Okay.
Similar.
Okay.
It's
But high school, not college.
not college. And
Was there a reason you want to do high school rather than college?
because that's where Cody went. He did not go to
I see.
college in Scranton. That's where Cody went. And it costs a lot of money to go there.
Right.
And there are lots of kids who have the ability but don't have the financial means to get there. And the kids wanted a student to be chosen who was like Cody, not necessarily maybe the smartest, but somebody who had his spirit and his determination.
Right.
So right now it's every other year, but soon to be every year, one student going into 9th grade who would otherwise never be able to afford Scranton Prep gets a scholarship in his honor.
Wow.
The first one is now a senior at Westchester.
So for upper school, basically.
Correct.
The whole of upper school.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Well, everything is paid for.
Right.
Books, lunch, everything.
Wow.
The first one is now at Westchester. She's a senior. The second is a sophomore at Virginia Tech. The third is a senior at Scranton Prep, and the second is a sophomore at Scranton Prep. So we have 4 Cody Barrasse scholars.
Wonderful.
First time ever at Scranton Prep that there was endowed money for full ride. There's that end. Then the second and probably most important end is what we call our organ transplant assistance program. It's OTAP. And what we do is with the money that we raise, we give it to people from northeastern Pennsylvania awaiting transplant to defray the huge costs that insurance just doesn't pay for.
Sure.
Travel, meals, hotel bills, medications. We paid for a washing machine about a year ago because the washing machine broke. And all that they have to do, it can be done easily online, is they need to identify who they are and give us proper information that they are actually on a transplant list.
Okay.
And this is for both people awaiting transplant from deceased donors like Cody, but as you know, there are donors now, living donors, and those people incur expenses that insurance companies don't pay for. So that's where the rest of our monies go for.
Linda, we're running out of time, so I just want to go back to the actual book again real quick. I'll just do some quick fire questions just to get a sense. So how long did it take you to write the book and put all the recipes together, would you say?
About 8 months.
8 months. And where did you get all the pictures that you used?
They were all pictures that I had of Cody or my family, and some of the food
Yep.
I was taking along the line, not knowing I was going to make a cookbook,
Right.
but I would just take pictures of the food I made.
So you literally kind of got the pictures and like taped them onto a piece of paper, page 3, and then...
Correct.
sort of-
Yes.
yeah.
When I sent them in, I said, I want this picture right here. I want this picture right there. Yeah.
So you found a publisher to help you publish
yes,
it?
iUniverse.
Okay. And then, so did they edit your stories of Cody each time?
No.
No, you.
No, that was part of the deal breaker for me. That I said, I know I don't write grammatically correctly.
Beautiful.
I know. I said, when somebody reads this,
Yeah.
I want them to feel as though I'm speaking with them.
Yeah.
And speaking is not the same as grammatically correct all the time.
Yeah.
So no, it was not edited.
Right. And I noticed the book is by Linda Barrasse and friends.
Yes.
So what do you mean by
Well,
that?
because some of the recipes in there were made by my friends.
Right.
The actual writing, I did.
Right.
But the recipes, and this could not have happened without all the people involved,
Right.
meaning the kids and my
Right.
friends.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean by Linda and friends.
I mean, it's such a wonderful idea to honor your son. Like, I mean, there are foundations, people do that, and that is absolutely fantastic and wonderful. But you've also gone the next step. You've written a book. So what are your hopes for the book?
My hope, the first reason is that I wanted my son Joseph, his wife, and my granddaughter to have this memory. And the kids, because as I was sitting writing, even though it was only 8 years when it happened, I said, well, what came first, this or that?
Right.
And when they're 50,
Right.
they're not going to remember all the details.
Yeah.
Now they do.
Yeah.
They have a record.
Yeah.
But I want as many people in this world to know about who my son Cody was, who my son Joseph is, and who all these wonderful young people are who honor my son that run this foundation. I'm the den mother.
Right.
The kids are in charge.
Right.
And I'll talk to anybody who will listen.
Right.
So my hope is that as many people as possible can read the book, read the story, make the recipes, and smile when they think of Cody.
Absolutely. By the way, I was looking at one recipe, it was a chicken recipe, and you put peas in there, which I love. I love frozen peas. But so quick technical question. Can you take the peas, I only do one meal. I do a spaghetti bolognese. That's my only meal. Can you take the peas out, frozen peas out of the freezer and just put them straight into the recipe? They'll sort of cook themselves.
They'll cook. Yeah.
Right, I just want
a pea you could eat raw if you want to.
I love the idea of peas because that's one of my favorite things. I often
Whenever you see peas in any of these recipes, you could take the frozen one out and just throw them right in.
Right. Love it. Who did the painting of Cody? A
young woman. I knew her from a few paintings she had done for me before. She's a young woman from home, and my brother knew I liked a particular picture of Cody. Somehow or other he got it, and he made that portrait for me.
Beautiful.
She painted it. Yeah,
from a photograph?
From a photograph.
Wow, isn't that lovely?
Yes.
So you didn't really know her, the painter?
Oh, I knew her, yes.
Okay.
Her name was Jen. What was Jen's last name? I forget her last name. She had painted 2 other pictures for me in the past.
Right. Love it. When you talk about being a non-cookbook, it's really a love story. What do you mean by that?
Well, this whole cookbook is based on my love for my 2 sons. Mm-hmm. It's a love story in that I show my love for my sons through this work. Mm-hmm. The kids who love Cody become alive through this book. And the love that my friends have for me to help this happen also becomes alive through this book. It happens to deal with food and recipes. I'm an Italian. Right. So food is kind of a central part of what we do and how we express our love. Mm-hmm. So this is my story, my love story of me and my kids that happens to be associated with the food I make for them.
Right. Do you have plans, tell us anything coming up, either events or another book, what's going on?
Another book. My friends want me to write another book.
Yeah, what would you like to write about?
Don't know.
You've done one.
Don't know, but I'd give it a whirl. I just need to think. I need to get through this one a little bit more before I do another one.
Right. How do you mean get through it?
I want to get it on the road.
I see.
Yeah, I want to get it on the road. I want people to read it. I want to do the things I need to market. So
tell us where it is. It is on Amazon. And by the way, I love the fact that you've done a hardback, because most people think, I'm not going to do a hardback, it's too expensive. And it is, it is up there. It is expensive, but remember, 100% of the proceeds that when you purchase this, even if you buy the hardback or the Kindle or the paperback, 100% of proceeds will go to www.Cody Barrasse Foundation,
Yep.
Barrasse, Cody Barrasse Foundation. Or you can just donate. You can go right to the website and help out there.
Yes, you can.
Donate directly.
Yes.
But anyway, so it's available. Tell us where it's available. Amazon,
Barnes and Noble. And at home, there are many small shops
Yeah.
that sell it. It's available here at my office in King of Prussia.
Wonderful.
The mainline office in King of Prussia, the
Right.
gift shop has it.
Right.
You can get it there.
And how long have you been Mainline Health, by the way?
I've been here 2 years.
Yeah. So
2020 was.
Linda is that's why and people wondering why it's
Why am
Scranton.
I here?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she is local now. I think that's pretty much all we have time for. But
This was fun.
Yeah, thanks for coming. Thanks for
Thank
coming.
you for
I
having
wish
me.
you the best. It's
Thank
a
you,
wonderful
Richard.
story. Really, really, and then talk about turning, something so tragic into something so wonderful. You've really managed to do that. So good luck with everything.
And remember, smile when you think of Cody.
Absolutely.
No tears.
We will do. So thank you, Linda Barrasse, for joining us today and for sharing your extremely powerful story about your wonderful son, Cody Barrasse. You can find the book on Amazon. 100% of the proceeds go to Cody's Foundation. That's www.codybarrassefoundation.com. So you can visit Amazon to buy the book, Barnes & Noble's local bookstore, or you can donate directly at www.codybarrassefoundation.com. And finally, in honor and celebration of the life of my Queen Elizabeth II, you can also enjoy this non-fiction royal and local English series memoir of my great aunt Flo, Florence Bramford, who travelled the world on royal tours under 2 Queen Elizabeths. The books are called From Cottage to Palace. This was our Malvern, that's UK Malvern, and Upton upon 7 Recollections, also available on Amazon and Audible. Cheerio, see you next time.